Hello, my name is YouJun Wang. I'm very glad to participate in the planned CPD course of the Yellow Emperor's internal classic Su Wen. It will be challenging and also will be very exciting to introduce the classic theory and authentic methods systematically to Chinese medicine learners in the UK and Europe for the first time. As there are so many important concepts and methods missed or misunderstood in the contemporary teaching and practice of traditional Chinese medicine, it is the time to get it back to its original point. I am sure both of the lecturers and the learners will make marvelous improvement in the study of traditional Chinese medicine through this one-year course. Now, I'd like to provide a few sample segments of the lectures to help us to get a bit testing experience of the course. Here we go. The first part of the course is the introduction of the Tao of Medicine. From the very beginning of its existence, Chinese medicine is not only a study and practice of management of disease and health, but also is taken as the highest science and philosophy of life and the universe. That's why it is also called the Tao. The foundation of the Tao of medicine is the same Tao as what Lao Tzu and Confucius discussed in Tao Te Ching and Yi Jing. In other words, it's the law of the heaven and the earth. In texts of Chinese classics, the heaven and the earth is the thesaurus of the world, the universe, the time and the space of the solar system. In chapter 5, Su Wen states that yin and yang form the way of the skies and the earth. They make up rules and pattern for the myriad creatures. So it defined that yin-yang is the Tao of the heaven and earth, the law of all lives of the world. In the same chapter, the sky is identified as yang and the earth is identified as yin. There are laws of the heaven, laws of the earth, and laws how the human responds to the changes of the heaven and the earth. What we are talking in this segment is about one of the features of the earth compared with the heaven. It's under the topic, the heaven in circle and the earth in square. This topic is a highly summarized idea about a main feature of the laws of the heaven and the earth. The heaven in circle is a conclusion from the result of observation of the moving subjects in the deep sky, the sun, the moon, and the stars. In the visions of naked eyes of human, all these celestial bodies are moving in circles in various periods. This is a long exposure photograph of the starry sky. Here we can see the stars move in circles through the night. We all know nowadays it's the result of the rotation of the earth. The sun also moves across the sky along a circular path through the day. The moon, as the satellite of the earth, revolves around the earth, and it appears in night sky along a circular path with a period of about 1 month's time. To be accurate, a lunar month. That is of 29.530588 days in average, or in other words, 29 days, 12 hours, 44 minutes, and 2.8 seconds. That's the period of the cycle of its relative positions to the Sun and the Earth. In a period as long as 1 year, the Sun moves in a big circle on the celestial sphere, the ecliptic. Starting from the winter solstice point, passing the spring equinox, summer solstice point, autumn equinox, and coming back to the winter solstice point. Thus, all celestial bodies move in circles, and the periodical motions of the Sun and the Moon produce dominant influence to the Earth and the lives on the Earth, including humans. Therefore, the internal classic puts huge importance to the laws of the heaven and the earth. The periodical motions of the Sun and the Moon make the change of the seasons, and the change of the seasons makes the change of qi on the earth. In the internal classic and other classical books, this change is always described by directions. And directions are the terms to give us the idea of a square world, especially if it is limited to where we live or extended from the local area. From the standpoint of the observer, they are described the relative directions as the front, the back, the left, and the right. When ancient Chinese have identified the cardinal directions according to the locations of the Sun and the moving shadows of the time post, they are set up a standard direction system, including the 4 side directions, east, west, south, and north, and 4 corner directions, southeast, southwest, north, east, and northwest. These directions are the words for human to describe the world where they live in and to understand the relations to the world, with home as the 0 point. The 4 side directions and 4 corner directions are based on the idea of a square home yard, with the assumption that the small piece of ground could extend to the land's end in all 8 directions. That naturally gives us the idea that the Earth is in square, the same as a home yard, with 4 side directions and 4 corner directions. With the standard point, with the standpoint of the observer and the 4 cardinal directions, a model of 5 is adopted by Su Wen to set up a system of 5 phases, 五行. I prefer the translation of 5 phases to 5 elements for 五行. Many kinds of things of the nature and the human body are listed in 5 groups, related to 5 directions and locations, which are decided by seasons. With 8 directions and the standpoint at the center, a model of 9 is set up, which is called the 9 palaces or 9 houses. The model of 5 and the model of 9 are the 2 main models used in the internal classic according to the law of the earth. Here we see the model of Earth, 洛书 and 河图. These are two important charts the ancient philosophers of China invented to describe the laws of the Earth. Chart of Yellow River, 河图, and the script of Luo River, 洛书. We can see both of the charts are in square with a set of directions. Combined with yin yang ba gua, there forms a practical chart, the 9 houses and the ba gua. This chart is widely used in shu study, the art of numbers. The 9 houses and 8 winds is the application of this model in Chinese medicine. These are charts of Shipan, the model plates. It's the model of the movements of heaven and the earth. It is the tool to utilize the laws of the changes of the time and space. Shi means the model, the law, the standard, and the method. Laozi has it that knowing the white and focusing on the black is the shi of everything under the sky. 知其白，守其黑，为天下事. That means the law of everything under the skies. In Chinese, a master of any kind of practice is also called 把式. 把式 refers to an architecture, a joiner, a builder, a gardener, a locksmith, and so on. 把式 literally means holding the model. So, 把式 is the one who knows and controls the standard and the method. These 2 model plates are both findings of archaeological discoveries from tombs of royals of Han Dynasty, the same era of the compilation of the internal classic, about 2,000 years ago. Obviously, the Shipan was created according to the laws of the heaven and the earth. The square of earth makes the base of the plate. Circles of heaven form the middle part. The so-called Shi is the model of the heaven in circles and the earth in square. Here shows a picture of 罗盘, the feng shui compass. It is a kind of developed model plate, much more complicated than the model plate of Han Dynasty. There could be as many as 24 to 33 circles of contents on the plate. On the right shows the details of the contents of a 24-circle 罗盘. 罗盘 follows the basic form of a 式盘, with the circle of heaven being the central part and the square of earth as the base. But the contents of the square part are all moved to the circular part for convenience of use. This is the model of Earth applied to the human body. On the left is the 9 parts of the body related to the 9 houses. There are lines of words tiling the model in rhyme. Standing on 1 and topping with 9. Getting 3 to the left and 7 to the right. 2 and 4 are the shoulders, and 6 and 8 are the thighs, while in the center stays 5. The locations of internal organs also meet the chart of 9 houses and Bagua. The next small topic is the 9 houses and 8 winds, the rule of seasonal winds and pathogenic winds. It is also in the model of 9 houses and Bagua. It's an important application of the square of the earth in Chinese medicine. Winds changes in directions follow the cycle of a year. The pathogenic wind also changes follow the cycle of the year. All right, the above is my mumbling on the topic of heaven in circles and earth in square. Now let's jump to the next lecture clip. The lecture session 4 is on the yin-yang of human body. As a part of the discussion of the physiology of classical Chinese medicine, the sample topic here is the concept of the guan, he, shu, the board, the door, and the pivot. It's about 3 yang and 3 yin. Guan means the board, he means the door leaves, shu means the pivot. Here is the important description about this topic, about guan he shu, the board, the door leaf, and the pivot. Hence, in the division and the unity of the 3 yang, the major yang is the board, the yang brilliance is the door leaf, the minor yang is the pivot. Hence, in the division and unity of the 3 yin, the major yin is the board, the seizing yin is the door leaf, and the minor yin is the pivot. Thus, the 3 yang channels are called separately with the names of the parts of a door in the traditional style, the board, the door leaf, and the pivot. And the 3 yin channels are also labeled with the name of the board, the door leaf, and the pivot. The circle of the heaven is divided in 3, the 3 yang and the 3 yin, while the square of earth is nominated in 5, the 4 directions and the center. Here we see the model of the heaven and the earth again. Look at the pictures. In the middle, this is the picture of a door in traditional style. And this is the door of a home yard. Both are formed of 2 door leaves. The door of a traditional building is formed of 2 door leaves. The board or bars behind the closed door leaves, and the pivots to keep the door in position and to open and close the door. The left is the oldest form of the Chinese pictograph of a door from Jiagu inscription. Jiagu inscription is the inscription on animal bones and turtle shells used by ancient Chinese about 4,000 years ago in Shang Dynasty. This pictograph of the character door has got the look of a garden gate or a simple door of a thatched hut. Look at the pictures on the right. The locations of the 3 yang meridians at the chest and the legs are shown here by CT images. Comparing with the parts of a door, the Taiyang channels are at the posterior side, as where the door bolts are. The Yangming channels are at the anterior side, as what the door leaves are, is the domain of Yangming channel. And the Shaoyang channels are at both lateral sides, as where the door pivots are. Thus, the author drew an analogy between the locations of the meridians and the parts of a door. The bolt, the door leaf, and the pivot indicated the roles of the 3 yang and the 3 yin channels. It's a wise way to remember the locations of meridians. Here shows the locations of the 3 yang channels at the face and the head. The idea of Guan He Shu helps us to identify the affected meridians according to the location of symptoms. For example, if the patient has a headache at the occiput and nape, we can tell it is the Taiyang meridian blocked. At the posterior is the side of a bolt, the location of Taiyang. If the headache limited in the forehead and the face, it is Yangming channel affected. The anterior is the door leaf, the location of Yangming. If the headache located at the temple area, it is Shaoyang headache. The lateral is the pivot, the domain of Shaoyang channel. There has been misunderstanding about the names of Guan He Shu because of the miscopy of a word in the early history. Back to Tang Dynasty, about 1,000 years ago. In Wang Bing's edition of Su Wen, the character Guan was replaced by a similar character, Kai. But in an early edition, Tai Su by Yang Shangshan, the word is Guan but not Kai. There are also evidence from other chapters of Su Wen to confirm that the correct word is Guan but not Kai. Thus, Guan He Shu was mistaken as Kai He Shu. Kai He Shu are verbs rather than nouns, with meanings of to open, to close, and to pivot. With these wrong meanings of the words, a theory about the function of the meridians was developed, which believes Taiyang and Taiyin are responsible for qi opening. Yangming and Jueyin are responsible for qi closing, and Shaoyang and Shaoyin are responsible for qi pivoting. This theory has been used to explain symptoms and to guide treatment. Although it is happily a useful theory and is supported and approved by many scholars and doctors. Unfortunately, it is just a beautiful mistake. Here we move on to the next clip of lecture. This segment is from the discussions of pulse diagnostics. It's part of the fifth topic about the positions of the pulse checking. There are different pulse checking methods in the internal classic. 寸口 pulse diagnostic method is the most important one. Today, we only talk some about an interesting idea of the 寸口 pulse diagnostic method. As what we have learned in the lecture about the mode of the Earth, the parts and the locations of the body can be divided according to the 9 houses. The left is a picture showing the parts of the body and the relevant positions for pulse checking. That's the idea that the pulse positions represent different parts of the body or different organs. The right is a chart of 寸口 pulse positions in both the left arm and right arm. There are overlapped represented parts in the pulse positions of left side and right side. We can see here, they're the same parts represented. And by merging up the overlapped parts in left positions and right positions, here we get a 9-house model. Here, the 9-house model. This is a hidden Earth model in pulse checking. As it is said in Su Wen, the qi colors are signs of the yang, and the pulse shows signs of the yin. We know the heaven model is the yang model, and the Earth model is the yin model. Therefore, the model of the Earth applies to pulse checking. Apart from the common model of the 寸关尺 positions, responding to 脏腑 organs, the positions also applies to body parts, according to the 9 houses and 八卦 chart, as what is shown here. Following the model of 9 houses, we can get a flexible and extended understanding about the positions of 寸口 pulse. And with reference to the features of the Earth model, we are be able to get the point why the word fang, which means direction and location, is repeated for so many times in discussions of pulse-guided acupuncture. Okay, these are the sample discussions we have shared. Many thanks to your attention. I'm looking forward to meeting with interested learners and practitioners, and looking forward to more topic discussions we would have. We will make effort together to get closer to the thoughts of the great masters who created the original system of Chinese medicine. We could get more understanding of the classical concepts and the texts to concrete the theoretical foundation of Chinese medicine and prepare ourselves with a sharp mind tool for broader development in all-round subjects of Chinese medicine and high standard practice. I'm sure we together can approach something that never has been tried. Bye for now.